Hi, Lynette here. I just wanted to talk for a few minutes about where I think our country is going and why I think it's going there. We have had a year and a half, well, almost 2 years now, since Donald Trump took office, of hysteria from the left. And instead of it getting better with them realizing he hasn't blown up North Korea, he hasn't gotten us involved in a war in Syria, and he hasn't done all the things that they said. He hasn't put gay people in prison, and he hasn't forbidden women to work, and all the things that they were told that he would do. He hasn't done any of them. And really, he's done a whole bunch of really good things. But instead, their hysteria has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger to now when you see an interview of a leftist, uh, it's just mind-boggling how crazy they act and the things that they say. Who's responsible for this? Is it just human nature to be upset about something that you don't like, and it's hard for you to get over it? That doesn't seem very realistic to me. I think that there's an agenda out there, and I think it's become very evident just in the past couple of weeks, ever since the Colin Kaepernick thing. I just kept asking myself, why would Nike pick, probably next to Donald Trump, the most divisive person in America right now for the advertising campaign? Didn't make any sense to me. They could have picked any number of African American people if that was what they wanted to do, women, athletes, any number of people that would have actually brought America together. LeBron James, he's very uncontroversial, and have him advertise it. Or there's some women out there, I can't think of them offhand, that would have done the same thing. But they chose the most divisive person out there. Doesn't make any sense to me. And now this Kavanaugh hearing, this is just insane. The fact that the left was fighting his nomination before he was nominated. They said, whoever Donald Trump brings up, we're going to make sure that he doesn't get to be this on the Supreme Court. Well, that's crazy, because how would they know? There's a lot of people out there that say Donald Trump is a half Democrat anyway. So then when he was nominated, this mild-mannered person with an impeccable record and impeccable credentials, they said, oh, well, we're not even going to wait for the hearing step, and we're not going to vote for him. Absolutely not. And their base is screaming, 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 make sure that you don't vote for Kavanaugh. This is not American. This is just insane. And then when that didn't seem to be working, they went in the backyard and they opened up the garbage can and they lifted the lid and said, well, what can we get in here to throw at him in our last ditch attempt? Let's do something that relates to women, because women have gone more insane than anybody in this country. Oh, let's throw a sexual allegation against him. And that's what they did. And I tell you, the insanity of this accusation is mind-boggling, where you have a woman who says, I don't remember where it happened, I don't remember really when it happened, and I don't really remember exactly what happened, but I know for sure that I was damaged by it. And for 36 years, she's kept this under her hat, which is insane. Don't talk to me about repressed memories. That's a bunch of crap. Now, the left is saying, it doesn't matter if Kavanaugh is guilty. The fact that she accused him, we have to believe her. And this is just nothing short of insanity. I keep using that word. And it's so easy for me as a person who's moved from the liberal side over to the conservative side, I don't know what I actually call myself these days, to look at liberals and just say, you are embarrassing. You are absolutely embarrassing the way you're behaving. You're not using logic. You're not using the law. This whole setting up a meeting with this broad, I'm not even going to use her name, and Judge Kavanaugh, so that she can say her accusations, and she's not following the rules of law, as in she has to speak first. She wants him to speak first. She doesn't want any lawyers in the room. Well, why would he be in a room with this kind of thing going on without a lawyer in there? And just goes on and on. And yet the left thinks this is all perfectly normal. So here's what I think. I think that there is a movement. And if you want to go as globally as the George Soros thing, which there's a lot of people that are talking about, and I believe it myself, which is why England's in the state it's in with its censorship, and why Hungary and Poland are having to pull away from the European Union because they want to stand for their own country and become nationalistic, but the West is saying they become white supremacists, which is ridiculous. Doesn't this seem like all one big picture? And I believe that if you divide people enough and you cause enough upheaval and chaos, you have people at your beck and call. You have them like a puppet master. I'm not saying there is a puppet master, but I'm saying that when you hear these stories about globalism and George Soros and that sort of thing, start paying attention to it. Don't just write it off as a conspiracy theory, because there's a lot of truth in it. To my knowledge, Americans, since the Civil War, haven't been this divided. And this divided on an emotional level. You know, we were fairly divided before we went to war in the Second World War, and the First World War for that matter. But once we got into the war, everybody pulled together and went, hey, and there's no pulling together. There's no desire on the part of the left to just meet the Donald Trump presidency halfway and say, well, okay, I admit that my paycheck is bigger. I admit that my business is doing better. They can't even do that. And I don't know where this is going. It's kind of scary, actually. I just want you to start listening to these things that up to now you've considered conspiracy theory, because there is truth in it. And especially start paying attention to the European situation. It's easy for us here in America. We've always been guilty of this, saying, it's Europe. They always have these crazy wars and do these crazy things. It's not any of my business, but it's wrong. It is our business, because what's happening there is shaping this whole mess. So that's your assignment for the next couple of weeks, is to start paying attention to these things and seeing what you think. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.